Today we're going to make this block. It looks a little strange, but when you make 4 and put them together, it makes this great starburst pattern. Now, I know it looks complicated, but it's actually really easy. It's stitch and flip, quilt as you go, and you don't need any fancy templates. It just starts with a simple triangle, and I'm going to show you how to make this triangle template yourself. So let's do it. Welcome back to Pattern Poole TV. I'm Monica Poole, and if you're new here, I post videos showing how I make my quilt as you go quilts. At the time of making this video, where I live in Australia, we're still in lockdown and have been for about 4 months. During this time, I was making heaps of quilt blocks for YouTube videos, and my samples were just hanging around the studio. So I decided to do a free quilt as you go along where I create a new stitch and flip block weekly, and then at the end of the series, I'll show you how to join all these blocks together. So that's an entire quilt as you go. If you are interested in following along, you can start anytime because these videos will always be here. You can join our private Facebook group and see what everyone else is making, which I love checking in, by the way. You'll also find a weekly blog post on our website with the cutting instructions and some step-by-step photos. The purpose of the project is about getting back to basics. I encourage you to try and use up what you have and only buy what you need to keep it as simple as possible. I'm just using lots of scraps for my stash, and it feels good to be able to clear out some of the fabric that I've been hanging onto for years, and it's great to see them come to life in a beautiful quilt. To make one block, you will need one 3" by 9" rectangle for the bottom star point, and for the side star point you will need a 3" by 10" rectangle. You will need to choose 2 fabrics for the center triangles that make up the diamond, and we will be making a template for that soon. To border the diamond, you will need 2 1.5" strips that are 5 1/4 inches long and 2 1.5" strips that are 7.5 inches long. For the background, you will need 2 rectangles that are 3 inches by 8 inches. And for the background side triangles, you will need a 5 3/4 inch square cut once on the diagonal. You will also need a 10" square of backing fabric and a 9" square of batting that has been centered on the wrong side of the backing fabric so that you have a 1/2 inch gap all the way around the edge. I've held the layers together with a light application of quilt basting spray. The gap of batting is to join the blocks together with my easy cover strip method. We'll put a link in the description for those that haven't seen my method before. Here are the cutting requirements. Take a screenshot or head to our blog. So now we are going to make the triangle template. To do this, you will need a sheet of plain printer paper. Fold one edge over by about 3 inches, making sure that it's nice and level on both side edges. From the bottom folded edge, measure across 2 3/8 inch and make a mark using a nice sharp lead pencil. Then measure 3 7/8 inch up from the folded edge and make a mark. Then connect the marks. We are going to cut along this line with a rotary cutter. I'm using my secondary rotary cutter that I use only to cut paper when I'm making my own quilting templates. Open it out and here is your triangle. Make sure you write the bottom edge and mark the grain line on the center crease. This is important as you don't want to get the sides of the triangle mixed up. Take your 2 pieces of fabric, place them together with the wrong side facing up. I have already cut the bottom edge straight, and now take your template and line up the bottom edge of the template with the straight edge of the fabric. Hold in place with a couple of dabs of fabric glue. I am working on the wrong side so I don't get glue on the right side of my fabric. Of course, if you want to, you can fussy cut your pieces separately. Now cut out your triangle with your rotary cutter. Here are my 2 pieces. Make sure you don't mix up the bottom edges. You will know which are the side edges as they are cut on the bias grain, and that will make them stretchy. So time to mark up our block. First of all, draw a diagonal line from corner to corner, then draw a diagonal line from the opposite corner to corner, making an X. You will know this is nice and straight as the line on your ruler will align with your marked line. As usual, I'm using a sharp 4B lead pencil. Don't press too hard as dark lines can show through on lighter fabrics. Now from the top corner, measure 4 1/4 inches and make a mark. From the same corner, measure across 4 1/4 inches on the top edge and also make a mark. Do the same to the opposite side corner. Connect the marks, making sure that the line on your ruler is running level with one of our diagonal lines. Connect the marks on the opposite corner. You will see that it is 3 inches away from the corner. So mark a line that is 1/4 inch below this diagonal line. Mark 2 inches either side from the center line. This is going to give us our starting point from where we are going to start sewing our triangles. To position the triangles, take one triangle and fold it in half across the bottom edge and make a crease. Align the bottom edge of the triangle with the 1/4 inch line we just marked, aligning the center crease with the center line with the top point of the triangle aligned with the center line. At this stage, make sure you have the correct bottom edge of the triangles. Take your other triangle and place it right sides together, making sure the bottom edges are level. Pin in place and head to the machine to sew. I'll just grab a sip of coffee before we get started. I have my machine threaded up with a neutral coloured thread, a size 80 quilting needle and a stitch length of 3 because we're sewing through batting. And I'm using a standard foot with my needle position moved over to give me a 1/4 inch guide using the edge of the foot. So that our stitches don't cross over on the back and look messy, we are going to sew a 1/4 inch away from all edges. So mark a dot a 1/4 inch in from the beginning and a dot a 1/4 inch in away from the edge and sew from dot to dot. I have an automatic tie-off set. If you don't have this function, start and finish every row of stitching with a little reverse stitch. Pull your work out from the machine and flip the top triangle over to the right side. You will see the points align with the center line. Gently press the crease. I like to use a little fabric glue to hold the points in place so that they are perfectly aligned with the center lines. We are now going to take our shorter diamond border strip and sew them onto the edge of the diamond. So take your first strip, place it right sides together with one side edge of the bottom triangle. Align the start of the strip so that it extends a 1/4 inch past the underneath triangles. You will see that we have excess fabric on the bottom point, and we need this to make the points of the diamond. Mark your dots a 1/4 inch away from the edge. The bottom dot will be a 1/4 inch away from the point of the underneath diamond. Sew from dot to dot. Take the other strip and position it in the same way on the opposite side edge. Mark your dots and sew from dot to dot. Head to the iron and press. Now take your pencil and ruler and place the ruler with the edge of the diamond and mark lines in the same angle on our border strips. Do the same on the other side. Take your longer border strips, position the first strip onto the side edge, extending the bottom edge over the underneath fabric by a 1/4 inch. You will have excess fabric at the top. Mark your dots a 1/4 inch away from your underneath fabrics on the top and bottom and sew from dot to dot. Make sure the top corner of this strip is meeting the center diagonal line. Spin the block and stitch the other border strip on the opposite side in the same way, remembering we want that extra fabric at the top edge. And flip. Double check everything is okay and aligned and head to the iron and press. Trim away the excess fabric underneath the strips on both sides. Now take your ruler and pencil and align the edge of the ruler on the border strip and mark a line onto the excess of the border strip so that it is following the same angle as our diamond shape. Trim on the marked lines. Now hold the diamond points in place on the center diagonal lines with a couple of dabs of fabric glue. Now it's time to sew on the background rectangles. Take your first piece, putting it right sides together with what will be the top side edge of your diamond. You want to position the top edge level with the edge of the backing fabric, and you will have a little bit extending past the bottom edge of the corner. Mark a dot that is 1/4 inch away from the underneath diamond and 1/4 inch away from the side of the diamond, and sew from dot to dot. Flip to the right side, finger press, and now do the same on the opposite top edge. So flip your block over to the wrong side and just make sure the top corner is covered. Trim away the excess fabric and press. Now flip your block over to the back and trim away the excess of the background fabric, trimming level to the background square. Before we move ahead, let's remark the side triangles. So place the ruler level with the marked line and continue that line across the background fabric on both sides, and then trim away the excess fabric, trimming on the marked line. So looking at the bottom of your block, we are going to sew on the shortest star point onto the bottom edge of the block, and the longer edge will go on the left side. So make sure you make all of your blocks in the same way, and I will show you why at the end. So take your shortest star point piece, placing it right sides together with the bottom side edge of the diamond. Position it so that the bottom of the strip is level with the batting and the top edge extends over the marked diagonal line by about 1/4 inch. Mark your dots 1/4 inch away from the underneath fabric and sew from dot to dot. Flip your strips to the right side, spin the block and place the longest star point onto the remaining side of the diamond. Align the top edge of the strip so that it is extending 1/4 inch past the backing fabric, and the bottom edge will be level with the batting. Mark a dot on the bottom and sew straight from the top edge. Flip to the right side. You can see it starting to take shape now. Press your block and trim away any excess fabric from the seam. And now we just have to sew on the side corners. Remark the side corner lines, lift the fabric up to make sure that you are marking the line correctly, and then trim away the excess fabric, cutting on the marked line. Do the same on the other side. You can see where we are going to sew on our side triangles, but before we sew them on, flip the block over and trim away the excess fabric. We're going to have some fabric scraps left over, so save all your scraps because I will be doing a crumb quilting video soon. Now let's sew on our side triangles. Place your side triangles right sides together with your block, fold it in half to mark a center crease, align the center crease with the center diagonal line and pin it in place. Position the opposite triangle in the same way, and you can sew all the way from edge to edge on the block when you sew the triangle seams. Flip your triangles over to the right side and give your block a final press. Flip the block over and trim to the same side as the backing square. At this stage, I'm just trimming to the same size as the backing square, and if necessary, I will trim all of my blocks to the same size before I join them together. And here's our finished block. So I made all of my longer star points in a darker pink fabric, and that's because when we rotate our blocks, it's a bit like a log cabin block. They're all going to link in together to create the star pattern. So you can see all of my dark pinks coming in together like that. So if you're joining in with our free quilt to go along, you'll need to make 4. This is going to be the center of our quilt. Don't ask me where all of the other blocks are going to be placed because I don't know yet. If you like this video, can you do us a favor? Like, subscribe and share to a friend. This helps us to grow our channel. And that way, the more we grow, the more free sewing tutorials we can share with you. Thanks for watching. Bye.